Hey everybody, it's me on the ground again with the cat. I wanted to hop on because I have some updates for you in case you're following my journey. Cat hair. Anyways, so couple things. First thing, my surgery was scheduled for July 11th. That has changed only slightly. So it's no longer Friday, July 11th. It is now Wednesday, July 16th. And there's a couple reasons why it changed, and I'll get to that. But first things, my surgeon had called me on Saturday because he wanted to clarify, clear up any questions I had. And I did have a few. So the first question I had was if I have this cerclage, notice how I call it the right word now, not curtilage. He said, okay, back up. Now I can't even, ADD, oh my God. Okay, so the cerclage, he had told me that I can have that done at the same time as my procedure, which of course I opted to do. Why would I have two surgeries? And I asked him, I said, if I get the cerclage, see now I'm sucking again. If I get the cerclage put in, do I have to get pregnant within X amount of time? Because honestly, I'm not really that ready for a baby. It's still kind of, but luckily he said, no, you have, some people have waited 5 years or more. I mean, it's in there, it's there. So it shouldn't lose any, I almost said credibility. It basically, I have time. That's the bottom line, and that's helpful. That takes a little bit of pressure off. The second question I had was, say that the procedure goes well. I asked him if I should have X number of clear visits before I get pregnant or whatever, because my big concern is, say I do get pregnant down the line and then these cancer cells are back. Would that affect my decision to have to see the pregnancy through and then possibly have invasive cancer at the end of it? Would I have to terminate the fetus? Of course, I would not want that, but just a question I had to ask. And luckily, he told me this one's a little more gray area, because he said I really won't know how things look until I get in there, which of course makes sense, right? So he told me if my surgery goes well, meaning he can get what he believes to be all the margins of where my highly cancerous precancerous cells are, then he would anticipate that things would be fine and that I could continue normally with the checks like I had been. Now, a lot of you like me are thinking, well, you've had this 2 other times. Why would you have to even have a third if it didn't come back? Well, the thing is, like, after this, a big portion of my cervix is gone. And this is where they've always been. He almost explains it to me like a clock. Like, you have cancer cells at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock or whatever. So he's optimistic, I'm optimistic. I mean, honestly, what can you do? If I have the surgery and things still are not going well, then, the writing's on the wall. We may have to think about my other options. But it was nice to hear that he said, I'm confident I can get everything. And if I don't, well, then we'll still have time to talk about what we're gonna do. So that's that. I am a little irritated because I had been scheduled for my surgery. And you know what? I'm just gonna say this first and foremost. I have worked in scheduling for a very, very, very long time. I understand things happen, mistakes are made. Sometimes it's not even like someone being new. It literally just happens, okay? So I wasn't upset. I was just a little more like, fuck, because I took the time off of work. My boyfriend coordinated his schedule so he could take the time off to take me to my surgery. Just, other things. But at the same time, it's like, okay, we still have at least a couple of weeks, what, like a month? So now we can rearrange. But I was a little irritated because I was like, oh, you scheduled me for the wrong procedure. I got that call today and they're like, sorry, we didn't schedule enough time for you to have your cartilage cerclage put in. And so we had to move your surgery date. And I was initially kind of irritated, but I said, okay. And then the gal on the phone told me, that is a little more invasive. And he did tell me that, okay, so when you have a LEEP done, TMI, men, I'm sorry, it is vaginally, they go through. But with the cerclage, they have to go in through my abdomen, like basically like robotically. So he said that it can be a little more uncomfortable for the healing, can be a little longer than it would be with just my normal LEEP. So that was another thing. So I have to also plan, more time off, which isn't that big of a deal, right? Luckily, I work at a company that's very understanding. I have the ability to work at home, which is also helpful and not something everyone has. I'm at a desk job, so I sit most of the day if I need to. So luckily, yeah, I'm just glad I know this ahead. But yeah, another thing I will say is I worry about my activity because it's the middle of the summer, right? Not being able to do things is a little frustrating. I was down for like a couple weeks last summer with my nose, and I don't know. I'm sad because with my day job, I already have to be off every other weekend from Max, and now it's looking like I may not even be able to work at all during July because I'm on call. But then the one weekend I was supposed to work was the weekend of my surgery, so I took that off. So I only had one weekend, and now I'm probably gonna have to take that weekend off. And so I know it's something I can't control, and I try to just, I try to see the best of everything, but sometimes it's hard, right? And I've really been going through the motions with this, and I feel like I'm somebody who I'm so, I shouldn't say I'm so positive, but I'm just like, okay, this is, let's do this, let's approach it, let's do what we have to do. But I don't really allow myself to feel those other feelings, right? The positive feelings, yeah. The negative energy, nah. And so I've been having some really intense dreams and even these intense feelings. And I feel like it's because I'm not allowing myself to consciously think about what's going on or really process it. And it is scary. I mean, yeah, it's not cancer yet. I hope it never will be, but it's still scary, and it's still something that could really determine how my life is going to look 5-10 years down the road, whatever. And that's the part that's a little intimidating, and I think that's what's causing me this anxiety and stress, like when I'm sleeping. I had one dream that made me extremely sad, and then I had another dream that was terrifying. I'm not going to get into details. You guys don't want to know what I dream about. But I've just had this overall feeling of uneasiness, and it's hard for me because, like I said, I know my body has to process this. I know my mind is just dealing with it the way it can, but it's hard because I'm somebody who's rah, rah, let's be positive, everything's gonna be fine. When I know it will be either way, but I have to realize it's natural, okay? It's natural to be scared. It's natural to be fearful of consequences, consequences. It sounds like I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? It's just I have to realize that sometimes I just have to let it be and let the path that was set forth for me happen. And I'm not super religious by any means, but I do believe there is some sort of cadence or reasoning in the universe, and I try and just have faith in that, right? My mom always did. And I just know things will be all right either way. But okay, I'm babbling on and on, but I just wanted to give you guys an update that the surgery has moved to a different date. I now have a little more information on how that stitch will be, mesh stitch will be placed, and yeah, just keep those good vibes coming. I appreciate everybody, the people who reach out, the people who just send me a little like heart. I mean, it's just nice. It's nice to know there's people who give a damn about what's going on and can take a second out of their day to send me a message. And that's like, I appreciate it. I don't expect it. I just really, like I said, I just appreciate everybody, and I will keep you posted on what's next.